What's up everybody, BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you. Today I want to get back to talking about my current favorite game, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Specifically the Intergrade update with the INTERmission DLC. We were finally able to complete the Yuffie DLC in this one, and I have to say, man, it bodes well for the future. So the story of the DLC follows Yuffie. Shortly after the bombing of Mako Reactor 5, Yuffie Kisaragi, I think is how you pronounce her name, voiced by Susie Young in the English version, Yumi Kakazu in the Japanese version. Yuffie is a ninja working for Wutai, arrives at Midgar and meets up with her partner Sonan Kusakabe, voiced by Alex Lay for the English version, Yoshimasa Hasoya for the Japanese, in order to steal Shinra's ultimate materia. With the help of a local avalanche cell, Yuffie and Sonin infiltrate the lab under Shinra headquarters and fight through Shinra's forces before discovering that the ultimate materia is not yet complete. As they try to escape, they are confronted by a Shinra super soldier named Nero, who's voiced by Sean Chiplock in the English version, Ryotaro Aokiyayu. I apologize if I butchered his name. For the Japanese voiceover, he plays Nero. Outmatched by Nero, Sonin sacrifices himself, spoiler alert, to ensure Yuffie can escape. She leaves Shinra headquarters just in time to see Sector 7 plate fall sometime later. Yuffie then leaves Midgar and muses that in order to achieve her desire to see Shinra's downfall, she will need a team to help her, setting up the two meeting. Because as you go through it, the avalanche cell that they're actually talking to is not the same avalanche block as Tifa's Seventh Heaven avalanche. So throughout the DLC, you're told of this story where Avalanche was originally one whole unit, and then half of them decided to become a little bit more vigilant. The other half wanted to stay a little bit more in the Dark Shadows. Yuffie teams up with the Dark Shadows side, but kind of gets interested in this idea of the other crew being a little bit more vigilant, and that's what she's kind of meaning at, is she's going to try and locate this other Avalanche branch, who we all know as, Tifa, Cloud, Barret, Aerith, all of our favorite heroes from the Final Fantasy VII world. But in terms of addition to the story, this one follows, obviously, Yuffie and Sonin. Sonin is a fairly new character. Nero is actually an old character. He comes not from the original game, but from one of the side games, I believe. And I'm kind of drawing a blank right now as to exactly where he's from. But he seems like an interesting character, to say the least. He's Nero the Sable. He's from the Deep Ground. He's a member of the Zviets and Weiss's younger brother. Weiss is also in the game, but you don't get to fight him yet. He's part of the extra stuff when you get back into the hard mode and you do the simulation stuff. But he holds the power to control darkness, and prior to the events of Dirge of Cerberus, so that's where this guy is from, Dirge of Cerberus, it's the prequel focusing on Vincent. He was kept in close confinement as his power was highly dangerous. He finally gets freed as Yuffie and Sonin infiltrate the Shinra headquarters, and Scarlet actually has a fantastic role. She's essentially the bad guy in this one. So in the original, you have Heidegger, and then you reach President Shinra, and then you have Rufus, who is the president's son. Those are like the top three echelons. Those are who you originally think are the bad guys of the bad guys. Well, in this one, it's actually Scarlet, the weapons development lady from the original. She's also in the first part, and she has a bigger role to play throughout the series. But it was awesome that they gave her kind of like her own kind of chance to do her own thing here in this DLC. So she's the one that releases all these creatures on you as you try and break in, and she's the one that lets Nero free. and you can kind of tell he seems tough. You know, he was a tough fight there at the end, and I can only imagine what he's going to be like on hard mode as I go in and try and complete all the achievements. Sorry, trophies. They're trophies on PlayStation. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. The gameplay is fantastic. So you have a few different features here because because Yuffie uses a ninjutsu like shuriken kind of boomerang type of thing. You can actually you have two kind of fights in one. You can get up there and do real close melee damage. You can actually fight from a distance. You throw your little shuriken at the guy, and then you use magic on that shuriken to cause damage. So it's pretty unique in the fact that you can be both melee and distance attack with her. And I from what I understand, you don't actually use MP when you're using the magic as the distance attack. So you still have your magic. You can, you know, your materia. You have your heals and your cures and your revives and all that stuff. But this elemental addition that you have with her abilities is kind of it's an ability. It's not really it's not a materia. So it's kind of cool in that aspect that you still have all this materia, the magic that you can use without actually expending any MP. So hopefully that'll help out in the hard mode because you can't use items to replenish your MP. And if I remember correctly, when you sit at a bench, it doesn't replenish your MP in hard mode anymore. That's only in the normal and easy. So it should be kind of fun going through it again and picking up on everything. As far as the story itself, it does really kind of give you a much better idea of who Yuffie is. Now, in the original, she's just kind of like this random side character that you may or may not come across, and if you do, she's kind of this weird character that like talks to herself, even though she's talking to you. The remake does a fantastic job of continuing that kind of character stuff. So she'll just kind of go off on these tangents as she's talking to people, and you can clearly tell that she's talking to herself, but while she's still talking to these people. And so the fact that they were able to kind of flesh out her character was fantastic. The fact that they gave her kind of a little bit more of a backstory to kind of get to know her and bring her in as an addition to this to the team is fantastic. And it gives you another side of the whole story, you know, like I mean, Final Fantasy, if you want to delve into it, is about the Eastern society being forced to adapt into this Western society type of capitalistic culture. And Wutai is the specific representation of old Japan, whereas Shinra Midgar is the United States, essentially. You know, New York City is what it's based off of. And you have this idea that New York is trying to force their ideals and ideology on all these other countries. And Wutai happened to be the one that vehemently fought back, and they still harbor feelings towards it. Now, there wasn't a giant bomb or anything dropped on it like Hiroshima or nothing, but you can definitely feel the underlying tensions where, you know, Japan was still obviously pressured into this capitalistic society by the United States, and they were hesitant to do so. They still held some resentment, and that's basically what, you know, Wutai represents. And you get a lot more of that in this than you do in the original. Like in the original, I didn't even think of it. Of course, I was also like 12, and you know, I was more concerned with like Cloud's character and whatnot than the other stuff. But they are really expanding on this story as a fantastic judgment on society overall, critique, satire on society overall as the global society, not just, you know, in Japan or in the United States. It's very fantastic, and I highly encourage people to check it out because there is more to this game than I think people give it credit for. Again, the original is remembered because of its great characters. This one, I believe, will be remembered not just for its characters, but its storytelling as well. And this really does buff up the storytelling. So the last thing that I'll mention about this is the tag teams you can synchronize Sonnen with Yuffie, and then you do these like little tag team Chrono Trigger, a la Chrono Trigger type dual attacks. I really hope that keeps going forward. I'm not quite sure how they're going to mix and match it together, who you sync with who, because normally you get the 3 characters instead of just the 2. But anytime there happens to be just 2 people in the story, I hope they continue this little synergy idea. It's very cool, and it's something to kind of add a new play style to the repertoire. So once we get all the achievements and everything, we'll release the rest of this. But just wanted to give you a heads up, because if you have a PS5, you happen to have Final Fantasy VII, this is absolutely worth the $20 that it cost me to buy it. If you get just the Intergrade for PS5, it comes with it. You don't have to buy it separate. I had to buy it separate because I got the free upgrade because I originally bought it on PS4. But absolutely worth it. $20, well deserved. And I think it's $5 for the Cactuar weapon that she can use. I bought that as well, so I technically spent $25. I would spend $25 again. I had no qualms with it. It's been absolutely worth it so far, and I can't wait to see where this takes us in part 2. So either way, if you made it this far, do me that favor, hit that like, hit that sub, hit that notification bell so you know when I do drop a new video or go live. Head on over to Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow me over there at BigSweetC. And then let me know in the comments. Have you played this? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Am I going overboard with the satire there at the end? Does this bode well for the future? Does it not bode well for the future? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me. Wishing YouTube, that's you. Wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.